Well, first of all, congratulations on winning the contest because that's really, really cool. You should be definitely very proud of yourself. And my first question is sort of related to way back whenever you got involved with Stone Soup, and with this new experience of now having published a book with them. What does Stone Soup mean for you?
I mean, I think that means like a lot, you know? I mean, like, because it's a big deal, especially, not just because it's an organization that has, been around for so long and has so much, recognition. Like, it's something that, like, even kind of like my friends and people, like, knew about to begin with, like, when I was telling them about it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So do you think it's definitely like affected your writing career sort of to be able to work with them?
yeah, especially, since, like, now that I have, like, Foxtale out, I could, submit writing to like other places too. I think Stone Soup is amazing. And also like the staff and everybody was really good about helping me get the editing and stuff done because I was definitely kind of exhausted by that
Yeah,
point.
yeah, yeah. What do you think was like the hardest part of that publishing process for you that they helped with?
Probably just getting through the editing because it did not take a whole lot. And there were a couple things that we scrapped that I kind of knew was going to end up scrapped to begin with. Um and I think it was just like getting it done, but they definitely like helped get it done because I probably wouldn't have done it by then because I think it was like 2019 or 20, yeah, I think it was 2019 or so when I started like writing on Foxtail, and that's when I was, still homeschooled and like during the pandemic for part of it too. So I was like, I had all this time to write, and then during the editing, I was in high school, so it definitely
Mm.
took a lot more like energy.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. How did you come up with the idea for Foxtail?
So it's interesting because like the whole idea of like like the space theme and
Mm-hmm.
like androids and the whole like future stuff, like that's just a genre that I'm normally pretty interested in. And so I basically just wanted a book like of that genre with a protagonist that was queer
Mm-hmm.
mostly. That's what I had. I didn't read anything like that at the time because I don't think there's a whole lot of like YA books that I was like, that were like available to me
Mm-hmm.
had like queer characters in them. So I was definitely kind of looking for that. And then I decided to write that. And it's interesting because like the plot for me, I feel like was sort of based like really loosely off the Disney movie Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
Like super loosely, just the whole like um I don't know, like just something about like the way that like the submarine was built in that movie. I know that's weird. And then also like totally random, but in like Avatar, the first Avatar movie where like the older sibling, dies and can't complete the task anymore, like the younger sibling has to step in. So I was kind of doing
Mm-hmm.
something like that too. I don't know. I just
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah. No,
pulled a
that's
bunch
good.
of
Are
random
there
stuff.
any like works that you feel like have well you were talking about inspiration, but do you think are there any works that like you read during the process of writing Foxtale that like really like changed anything for you in the narrative?
I'm not sure, honestly. I know, like, leading up to Foxtail, I'd read like a huge chunk of like the Warrior Cat series. So that definitely, the writing in that definitely affected like the sensory kind of like visual descriptions in Foxtail, I think. I think it was mostly like sci-fi movies
Mm-hmm.
I was watching, and I am not super confident on like the actual timeline of like what I was watching while I was really developing
Mm-hmm.
Foxtail. I know it was like I think like Ghost in the Shell and like the Lita movie came out around then. So just all kinds of interesting sci-fi stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's super cool. Do you have a favorite character from Foxtale?
Probably Tabby, but that feels a little bit biased because she's kind of like a self-insert.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
That's a
maybe like the dog, but then the dog is
Mhm.
also based off of like my dog, but she's much better like behaved than my
Yeah.
other dog. But you know,
I mean, getting rid of bias is pretty much impossible when you're choosing favorites anyway, so yeah. Cool. Let's see. What are you thinking about how you hope your book will be impacting people who read it?
I know that like the people that I know like personally who have read it have really enjoyed it. I'm just, I hope that it would be a good kind of starting off point like mostly for like a writing career, but also I just really hope that like for anyone like within like the age bracket that I was kind of when I started writing, like the YA age whatever, like who kind of felt the same way that I did when I started writing it, like underrepresented or whatever, just wanted like a sci-fi novel to read, would find it and enjoy it. But yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I'm pretty much like my target audience.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, writing for your own target audience is actually such a good, like, piece of advice.
yeah, I think like the
Oh,
best like I mean, probably the best writers do that. I mean, because if you're enjoying what you're writing in general, then it's probably going to be better than if you were forcing it.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And how did you like when you made edits, how did you decide what to like let go of and what to keep or add?
Well, the only things that I really cut out were things that I kind of knew might end up getting cut out by like an editor to begin with, if that makes sense. Like one of the things was the biggest one was a whole chapter, but I think it was just thinking back on it, I'm pretty sure it was just a few pages. Like it was kind of short and it was trying to introduce this kind of different theme that I thought about using in the rest of the book, but I kind of didn't. So it was kind of just there. And then there's a couple pages that I was really fond of, but I knew were probably going to get taken out because it was from the perspective of the android.
Oh, mhm.
Just like a total perspective shift. So it wasn't necessary and it wasn't super necessary for the plot or anything.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
only in Tabby's point of view for the rest of the book. So I understand like,
Mhm.
why it was cut out. Like totally makes sense. But that's pretty much I think the only things like major that we cut out. There were definitely some like run-ons and stuff, some like poor grammar,
Oh,
probably.
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's such a universal experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Um, yeah, I would have really liked to hear from the android's point of view too, even if it wouldn't serve the plot. But like,
Yeah.
I feel like you could release like an extra, you know?
Yeah, I know. I was like even thinking about that when I was like, like about to write the scene or whatever, and I knew that it was gonna get,
Cut.
probably
Yeah.
get cut if it did get published anyway. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, cool. Um, could you tell me a little bit more about like how you start your books? Like when you write?
So like for Foxtale, it was kind of like unique because I actually like I wrote the whole plot down before I started, like writing it out. And then like Foxtale I wrote in two different like journals. So like I did
Mhm.
it
Pen to paper.
yeah, first before I put it into my computer, and that's not what I've been doing like lately. I don't have like a finished like novel or anything, but I have some projects that I've been working on, and I'm usually like I started, using like my computer to write, but now it's mostly just like my phone because I just find it like a lot more accessible. But yeah, so I mean Foxtail, I really had the whole plot laid out in my head because like kind of if you kind of take a step back, the plot is pretty simple, like it's Earth in the future and
Hmm.
it's this girl who has to take her big sister's place on a trip to a different planet. So it's kind of straightforward, and then once I actually started writing it, there was more like details and stuff.
Yeah, sometimes it's really nice to have like a straightforward plot because then you can add all of this stuff
Yeah.
without getting in the way, I guess. That's
Yeah.
super.
And I like a lot of the things that like the books that I really enjoyed over the past like few months or so have been like short stories. And I know Foxtale isn't necessarily a short story. I think it's like 200-ish pages, something close to
Mhm.
that. Don't remember exactly with all the editing and stuff, but like I feel like if you can like make a like emotional or creative or whatever impact in like a smaller set of words almost, like if that makes sense. Like there's a lot of really good short stories, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Often I feel like short stories, like if I'm working on a word count for a school assignment, I feel like sometimes it's more difficult than like just doing whatever.
Yeah, and I mean like even some, classic books that are really like emotionally impactful are pretty short, like Fahrenheit 451.
Hmm.
And I think The Giver, although I'm pretty sure The Giver is like 120 plus. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's probably around the same as Fahrenheit 451. But there's a lot of like really books, and I like really like shorter books that I enjoy. Just that the
Hmm.
way that the formatting is done.
Yeah. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Um, I have one last question for you.
Mhm.
Um, and it is, if there was one thing that you would want young writers to like you to know, what would it be? Like anything about the writing process, about I don't know, publishing, any of it.
Honestly, it would probably just be like you are your target audience, so just write something that you would enjoy reading. Even like, and it doesn't really matter like if you don't think that a whole lot of other people would enjoy reading it, because there's bound to be other people who would find it interesting, especially if you're so like you have so much energy for writing something because you're so passionate about it, like it's going to turn out to be interesting. And even if you have to like change it up a little bit, if you actually publish it and like have it looked over by an editor or whatever, like it's still going to be something that you wrote for yourself, basically something
Hmm.
that you enjoyed.
Yeah. Has that like philosophy helped you to like deal with criticism of your work too?
I don't think anyone's actually like come out and like said that they didn't like
That's
Hillary.
good.
So
That's
like,
good.
I mean, because I mean, I'm not doing like social media stuff to like market it or anything,
Hmm.
but yeah, I don't know. If someone said that they didn't like it, I would probably, like, okay, that's kind of a you problem. I mean, I also,
Yeah.
when I was 12, but it's a pretty good book considering it was picked up by Stone Soup. So
Yeah. That's such a good way, like a nice positive way to think about it, I guess.
yeah.
And then my final question, I guess, is what are you having any plans for the future in terms of like your writing or more
Um,
books in the works?
so because I like recently was like a finalist with the Indie Book Award, which like was really cool, and I got to go to the ALA conference and everything, like for
Hmm.
Foxtale, solely because Stone Soup picked it up and like published it and everything. So that was like really amazing. So I think that if I do submit any of like the stories that I'm working on now to a publisher, I think I would just feel more confident about it. I think I would submit it in more contests, I guess, because I not sure what like Stone Soup contests I'd be like legible for now, because I think I was like just about to pass the age bracket when I submitted Foxtail. So
Yeah. So is that.
yeah, but like right now I'm really interested in like horror, and I might not be super interested in that like forever, but I really I like kind of like cosmic horror and like
Hmm.
fungal horror. And I know like fungal horror, especially like with The Last of Us coming out, is really popular. But then there's some like Vandermeer books, and I like love his writing. Like it's so beautiful, like the Southern
Hmm.
Nights trilogy and stuff, like that I think is really inspiring. So I definitely want to kind of branch out a little bit. But I feel like my like goals or whatever are kind of similar, like writing wise to what they were like when I started writing Foxtale. Just maybe have like a little bit more like confidence in being able to, get published and stuff because of
Hmm.
Stone Soup. So
Yeah, that's super cool. I'm glad that
yeah,
that's helped your confidence because it's always good to be confident in
yeah.
yourself. 'Cause I think like
At least like
writing is a very self-marketing whole.
yeah, at least like writing wise and like like if any I mean any like Stone Soup winner kid or anyone who's actually had something published, I think that's a really big deal, especially if you are younger, because I mean that can help you get into like college and stuff. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's super cool. Well, I don't have any more questions planned, but do you have anything that I didn't cover that you'd like to say?
I don't think so. I think I'm pretty yeah, I think that's about it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. It was great to meet you.
You too.
Bye bye.